Now, I think it's pretty safe to say that the future of the Star Wars universe seems to be quite expansive, not just with their books, novels, comics, and video games, but we also have a series of TV shows and films that are all set to be unveiled at Star Wars Celebration this year, by the way, which takes place in May, that Bob, Chapek, George, John, and Dave are all going to join together on stage and introduce all of these new projects. That's going to lead up all the way until 2024/2025. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way, guys, I am on Twitter at Mike01 if you guys want to go ahead and give me a follow on there. I do post a couple of entertaining things from time to time and really make sure to interact with you guys further. So, what's even all the more exciting right now is that, yes, we have all witnessed what happened with Chapter 6 of the Book of Boba Fett, really giving fans something great to look forward to by John and Dave on what they really have in store for the rest of the mandoverse for the years to come. So there's a lot at work here. We already know that there's a lot of things being done between George, John, and Dave by combining Star Wars Legends with the new Star Wars material, such as the new Disney canon, and how that's really going to interact with all of the new Star Wars comics, books, novels, and really kind of using that as source material to transfer things over into live action form. Now, one thing that we can give a lot of credit to for John and Dave is exactly what they recently did with Luke in Chapter 6. Now, obviously, the CGI, it is a lot more, refined. It's a lot more, vivid, if you will, in comparison to what we saw in Mando Season 2's finale. It is a great improvement, and it goes to show you that they really can just keep on doing better and better with each and every episode and or show in this scenario, with, of course, introducing Luke Skywalker again. Now, on top of all of this, this actually drags Kathleen Kennedy into the situation. Now, with the Book of Boba Fett Chapter 7 on the horizon and set to have some important reveals of what's to arrive in The Mandalorian Season 3, both Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are now supervising the work that is being done for the Obi-Wan Kenobi trailer, as well as they are pushing to release that by March. However, it's noted that behind the scenes, Lucasfilm's Kathleen Kennedy wants to put an end to what is being done with Luke Skywalker in the mandoverse with the use of CGI. Kathleen Kennedy is noted to be very insecure about John and Dave's success with Star Wars by opening up to the fans' hearts by diving into the journey of Luke Skywalker and Grogu. Now, Kennedy is said to be in the process with the higher-ups over at Lucasfilm in an attempt to put an end to Luke Skywalker being used in future Star Wars shows. Kathleen Kennedy's defense behind the scenes suggests that using too much Luke Skywalker will completely ruin the franchise, and that they are already playing with fire and are in a dangerous spot by using him too much in Boba Fett. Kennedy believes that John and Dave already overused Luke in Book of Boba with the training sessions and felt like it was just way too overloaded for Luke Skywalker. Now, let me just say one thing here about Kathleen Kennedy is that this is obviously a defense mechanism on her part. She obviously is having a great problem with this vivid contrast being presented to the fandom of her version of Luke in the sequels and John and Dave's version of Luke in the post-Episode 6 era. So, when you look at everything, side to side, you can see how this would bother Kathleen Kennedy, because basically it is now showing that she never had any form of true success with Star Wars. She never really had something that was so capturing to the fans' hearts, and nothing like what John and Dave did with Mando Season 2's finale, nothing like what they did with Book of Boba Fett Chapter 6, and what they also have in store for Mando Season 3 and 4. Now, the thing about this also is that Kathleen Kennedy has been on about this for months on end, of using less of Luke Skywalker is the way to go, and using too much of him, like they did in Book of Boba Fett in her eyes, is just way too overloaded. In my opinion, alright, you can use as much Luke Skywalker as you want, as long as it does not detach from the story and detach from the character's nature. As long as you keep that intact, it's going to be perfect. And after all, we do have a young Luke series planned by Lucasfilm that Kathleen Kennedy is also having a lot of issues with. It's actually dubbed Star Wars Jedi Knight, that will be unveiled at Celebration this year. So the thing about Kathleen Kennedy, obviously, is that she's having a lot of issues with the Acolyte series by Leslie. We'll get into that a little bit in just a second. And you can see how this is also bothering her quite a bit. Now, moving on from this, alright, Kathleen Kennedy believes that the only way to keep Luke interesting is by using very little of him, and she wants to put an end to what John and Dave are doing with Luke. Recently, Kathy expressed to Disney's higher-ups, including Bob Chapek, that Luke is already feeling out of place and flat by using him way too much in the Book of Boba, and especially with what John and Dave have planned for Luke in new Star Wars shows such as Mando Season 3. Now, Kathleen Kennedy also feels that the CGI was poor and actually complained to Disney's higher-ups, where Kathleen Kennedy mentioned that Luke Skywalker's design did not make much sense, as he is older now in comparison to Episode 6, and actually comes off as younger looking and more boyish. Kathleen Kennedy had endless critiques about how Luke was utilized in the show, and how they should have made him appear somewhat older in design. However, Disney's higher-ups are not listening to Kathleen Kennedy's demands and or her critiques of Luke, and it's something that is truly bothering Kathy right now, as she is having lots of self-esteem issues with her work on Star Wars as we speak, especially after having so many problems with the Acolyte TV show. Now further, Kennedy also mentioned to Disney's higher-ups, including Chapek, that they should no longer use Skywalker in the Mandoverse, as it takes away the limelight from characters like Din Djarin and even Grogu. She believes that using Luke Skywalker is a cheap move on Lucasfilm's part, and that Luke Skywalker is just there for shock value with no story. It's safe to say that Kennedy is acting in such a way as she feels threatened against the success of her Acolyte series, and it most likely will be failing at the ratings for Disney+. Now, the thing about all of this, alright, when you look at what Kathleen Kennedy did with Luke in The Last Jedi by Rian Johnson, and what she allowed J.J. Abrams to do in The Rise of Skywalker by really not even giving them a chance to really save the character in any way, shape, or form. And even J.J. and Chris Terrio had plans to even do that at a minimal level, and had already planned to have film scenes that were actually fully cut from the movie. Now, when you look at everything related to the Book of Boba Fett, Chapter 6, it just goes to show you that they really are building towards something new. They really are creating this brand new timeline that we have never seen before, this post-Episode 6 era. In other words, John and Dave are really resurrecting Star Wars legends, and that's exactly what they plan to do, and that's what they talked about just the other day, is that they really want to try to keep things as accurate as possible, but really kind of tweaking things here and there to kind of do their own thing at the same exact time, if that makes sense. They're keeping things as accurate as they can, but they want to make things different as well. So I think that's a very fresh and new approach. You know, it kind of gives even the hardcore fans something new and exciting to look forward to. And it's not a big surprise here that Kathleen Kennedy has problems behind the scenes of how John and Dave are using Luke Skywalker in all their glory, and in the way that the fans have always been asking for over the years. This is exactly how Luke should have been used, at least as his older self in the sequel trilogy movies. He should have been more like this in nature, and it makes a lot more sense to the character. So, like I say, guys, you know, I would love to hear what you all have to say about this below in the comments, everything ranging from the use of Grogu and Luke, as well as Ahsoka in Chapter 6. Let me know what you think about all of that, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.